like you're going to stay here in this body, we're going to praise the Lord. So that's how I encourage.
Say that a little louder. Say it again. The people in the back.
Well, the people in the back, you have to speak to that illness. Speak to that illness.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Overcoming Illness. I am your host, Paula Denoncourt, founder and CEO of Enrich Your Health. I am a holistic health consultant. I've been doing my business since about 2010. I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, speaking engagements, and now my own TV show. And I am so excited tonight to have my guest. She's been on a couple of times. She's been telling us her journey with mold toxicity. And just to tell you a little bit about myself, I do offer, like I said, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, speaking engagements, but I also offer customized recipes for people that suffer with things like autoimmune issues, mold problems, whatever it is. I can do customized recipes, or I have recipes on my website, and that's enrichyourhealth.com, and that's with a U-R, ENRICHYOURHEALTH.com. If you haven't watched any of my other shows, please go back and watch them. This is part 3 of Avis. I put on a pre-recorded broadcast last weekend from part 2 because it was just so important of what she had been going through with mold toxicity. I felt like it needed to be shown again. So I was kind of right. There's a lot going on in the world right now with a lot of rain and water and people's homes getting flooded, and they're probably not used to getting homes that are flooded, and what to do if they get mold in their homes and what it can do to their own health. So I really chose to do this broadcast tonight, and I thank Avis for coming on again and really sharing where she's at now with her health, with all her legal issues, getting her home cleaned up properly, not just like willy-nilly, which I think a lot of us do. I've mentioned it on other broadcasts. We've had flooded cellars when I lived back in Massachusetts. I'm in North Carolina now, but my cellar that I grew up in, it flooded from time to time, and we paneling. So I know darn well there was mold behind that paneling. And from the day I moved, I don't know, but God bless the people that live there now. I hope they pulled that paneling out because there's probably mold behind it. And I know it was a moldy cellar anyways. I had a hard time breathing in that cellar. As I was wheezing, because I had asthma. The only thing that would help me is putting on the heat. The heat would help it, to take out that moisture. So I am really excited to talk about this tonight. Let me just put comments on. So if anybody comments, I want to welcome everybody, whether it's evening, morning, afternoon, whatever part of the world you're in, I welcome you. Like I said, I am just so excited to have Avis here. So let me tell you a little bit about Avis. Avis Cherie is a servant leader. She's a healer. She's a multi-talent content creator and a motivational speaker. She's a 5-time international best-selling author and mental health clinician. She has a unique and ambitious speaking ability, not only to coach, but to transform lives. She's evolved into the self-proclaimed Miss Motivational Mogul mindset, known for her infamous and purposeful unpopular opinion show and motivational vlogs on YouTube. And she'll tell you how to follow her after. And her social media. She is also unequivocally an influential leader. She's often referred to as the inspirer, and I know she inspires me. She consults and offers an array of knowledge across multiple genres with an unparalleled commitment ethically and morally. And I also want to add, if you follow my YouTube channel under Enrich Your Health, and again, that's what the UR if you're only listening, you can just search it in the YouTube search, Enrich Your Health. Avis helped me put together some of those YouTube videos, so I want to acknowledge that as well, because she did an amazing job on that. So please make sure you're giving Elevation TV Network some love on YouTube. If you're not on there watching, if you're on another platform, go over to YouTube. Make sure you give them some love. Amazing shows on this channel, not just mine. Then you can also follow my YouTube channel, and then later on, we'll let you know how to follow Avis's YouTube channel or other social media. So, Avis, give everybody a little bit of background, who you are, where you grew up, and then, we don't have to talk all of everything, but just if people haven't seen part one of this whole mold toxicity thing and how you figured it out, how I helped you figure it out, give everybody a little background on that.
Thank you, Paula. I appreciate you. I appreciate Elevation TV Network and Enrich Your Health, which it enriches my health with your help.
Amen.
So I thank you. I believe this probably will go into 4 segments at some point because it's a continual thing. So I want to first start off and encourage anyone who's listening that our health is ongoing as long as we're living and breathing. So just keep tapping in. Don't give up. I live in Newark, Delaware now. I'm originally from St. Louis. I got with you to do the first show because of, I thought, overcoming illness like migraines and fibromyalgia. However, your spirit picked up that I need to look deeper into some things.
Right.
And that was last year, mid last year.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, we believe, and we touched and prayed and agreed and fast together that had a big part in saving my life or extending my life. Let me say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also just sparing me from continuing decline in health. You know what I mean? Like it was so rapid, and it must have been from the mold toxicity triggering these other things. So that's what brings me back today with joy in my heart, because I think even on the second half, things were evolving, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get to this point. And then remind yourself when you're unwell that there is something serious that you've been exposed to or maybe still being exposed to that you don't want to come down too hard on yourself. And that's for me. I had to just not be so hard on myself in this process. This is a huge trial and a huge burden to carry. However, having the knowledge, having the God sent angels like yourself to be able to give of yourself so freely, just with the information, and to be able to support you in return with your services and goods that you actually provide, that you actually live through, that you actually have knowledge of, it is invaluable. It's worth tapping in every time, because simple little time spent can be just the gem or jewel you need to just change your life. And that's what it did for me. So that's what I'm into now. I think just coming today to just give you guys an update of everything. So I'll start wherever you want me to start with those things.
Yeah, so tell us, so not everybody may have watched last weekend or even part one. So you said, you suffered for how many years with migraines and fibromyalgia and, just being ill constantly. Tell everybody a little bit about that and then how you found a doctor that could finally help you. Just give us a little bit about that.
Wasn't easy, guys. It was not easy. I've suffered with chronic migraines since a teenager, and then it just got progressively worse. So that was all of my teens up to now. So I was dealing with chronic migraines, and then I got a diagnosis in 2015 of fibromyalgia because of the falling down. All of a sudden, my mobility was off and things like that. And all these different things started happening. My neurologist would always say, I think it's something else. I think it's something else. So as I'm hearing her say that over and over again, you come down hard on yourself and be like, well, what else am I exposing myself to? These are things that are neurological. They're in your nervous system. These are things that you just can't inject or ingest and just be like, oh, I can stop eating that. Now this won't happen. You know what I mean? I still have migraines. I had bad sleep habits, not because of me, but because of the fibro or the nervous system or just being too wound up from pain.
Mhm.
So the chronic pain came in is how we met, because I had to live to make it live with me and not me live in the pain day to day. And it's
Mhm.
hard to do that. But it's there. I just serve more. I pay attention to what I'm doing elsewhere that's bringing me joy. And I do override those thoughts, those feelings. And when I can't, I rest. I
Yeah.
pray all day. I recharge. I allow my body's self-healing mechanism to kick in, because I have no control. Once I do all that I can do, that's it. So once the diagnoses came, it was all these different regimens and cocktails of medications that, of course, is the first few tiers of, take this, see if this works, inject that, inject this, let's take these tests. And it's just ongoing. So
Right.
I go natural years ago. I went against doctor's orders and asked to go natural. So we got a vitamin regimen. So fast forward, when I did your show, I immediately went to my rheumatologist and I told them my concerns based off what we talked about. I scheduled it. And while I waited for that visit, I ordered what was it? The what did you tell me? The
Activated charcoal.
activated charcoal. I
Yeah.
ordered that immediately, came overnight, right? So I started taking that. I did all the things that we discussed, and that led up to the visit. Once I told them my concerns, once I told them that I may have been exposed to mold, they had to do tons of blood work.
Right.
And I mean, these are blood tests that they don't do ordinarily. These are down deep in the whatever they have to go to get special approval. And it was someone who had mold knowledge on that doctor's visit,
Which is amazing.
even attainable, that
Right.
made that even a way for me to even get it. And it was, I believe, I want to say 24 different tests, not just for mold, but a accumulation of every blood test.
Wow.
So it was my normal blood work and probably 12 more.
Ooh,
You
wow.
know, so it was huge. And nobody disputed it. Nobody said it could not be done. My rheumatologist knew me well, and I was proactive in my health. I was becoming more and more educated. I asked questions. I wrote things down. I told them what we discussed. I told them that this may be an alarm because of my environment. Let's not ignore it. I kind of want to push this to see where it may go so it can make sense for the other things that it could be triggering, because the things that were being triggered should not have been happening. Stress is huge. Stress is a big
Right.
deal in our bodies. I'm one that's been stressed, okay, for most of my life. But
Yeah.
managing it as well as I could, and these other things that were so huge, you can kind of feel that something happened. Feel that my body was yelling at me to like yield and pay attention to this
Yeah.
huge thing that's robbing things. It's like literally take stuff out of you. Dry mouthiness, dizziness, fatigue. Like I said, I would fall down. I used to love heels, not high heels. I didn't like tennis sneakers. So now I wear sneakers because I don't know if I'm a fall flat. Neurologically, different things happened. My speech, I had 2 TIAs, which are mini strokes. Yeah, so
I know that.
all of the process, I had that before in the middle of the chronic migraine, 2019.
Okay.
That's when I had. That was the second one. So fast forward, we're here, and the doctors came back and the levels were high. And I definitely had mold toxicity, high levels of mold. They gave the breakdown of the different various molds. I sent you some of the names, and it was like a search and find. You have to research what it is because I didn't get the consultation I asked for to break everything down. The lady who was there who actually ordered the tests, she's never been back to that office. So I know it was a guy.
Yeah.
I know I had never met her before that day. I've been with him for 2 years at that point and never had seen her. And she just happened was a specialist in mold.
Like I said, back up. How you have to know, whoever's listening, it's not easy to find somebody who specializes in mold. It's not easy to find somebody who specializes in Lyme disease or, you know what I mean? A lot of those types of illnesses, autoimmune illnesses. So that right there, Avis, is just no pun intended, but a godsend.
It's
It
all
really was.
awesome. When I walked in, it's like she literally knew I was ordered there that day. She
Mhm.
literally knew that she was ordered there that day and she had an assignment. And
Wow.
she knew it was me because, and I don't know how everybody feels and thinks, but I'm going to tell you how I walk, my faith walk. I expect God to send angels and dispatch them. I
Mm,
pray to the visit. I pray over the visit the day before, any visit, not in worry, not in fear, but I pray that my steps are ordered and God will meet me at my need through the doctors and nurses. What was funny is when I got there, the first thing this lady saying, who I had never met, and I tell you, I was there over 2 years at that point. No, maybe longer. No, 2015 he diagnosed me. So it was like 6 years I was there. I'd never seen her work there.
wow.
First thing she identified was, I have the same outfit as you. I'm like, oh, she said, where'd you get that? And we laughed about where we got it from. And I was like, that was interesting. And we had masks on. So I
Hmm.
still don't even know what she looks like. And neither does she know what I look like. She just knew who I was. So in the spirit, she knew that day what to expect, what she was there for, who her assignment was for. And when we got in the office, you know how they rush you along and hurry you along like you're trying to self-diagnose? Wasn't like that. She
Mm,
listened and then she closed the door, got her own laptop as well as the medical laptop, and told me her father's background, who worked for the FBI. How she became a mold specialist is because he had to go through a 2, 3, 4 day training. He didn't want to do it. She did it. His daughter. This
oh
is
wow.
the same. Yeah, that's how she became in that situation. And they were able to unmask a slew of mold issues in Florida in schools, and she got certified and whatever else tier of licensing is required for that specialty. And she ended
Wow.
up in my rheumatologist's office that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you
Yeah.
talk about schools, just for everybody listening, there's a name for like mold toxicity in the workplace.
Mhm.
And they do say it's called a sick building, is what they call it. So if it's a school or place of work, like where I worked, there was a lot of mold. I worked in a prison. For anybody listening who doesn't know that, I worked in a prison, and they would never clean the ducts like in the ceiling or anything. There was a lot of mold in there. I was sucking it in. I'd be really bad, like I'd have a lot of like allergy type issues, sniffling, sneezing, because that, especially when the air conditioner went on, because it was
Yeah.
mostly from that. Like when the heat was on, I was okay, but when that air conditioning went on, I just wanted to scream and run out the door because I couldn't breathe. I was all stuffy and sniffly, whatever you name it, and it was from the mold and the vents. So anybody listening, I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of sick buildings out there. Like if an air conditioner is blowing on you at work and you keep sniffling and sneezing, that's usually from mold. I've also noticed, like going to like conferences, the hotels,
Mhm.
sniffling and sneezing again. It's the mold in those vents that's doing that, or
What's
the mold in your hotel room
oh
from the
God.
fan, the heater or the fan blowing. So yeah.
What's interesting about what you said about going to work, we go in and out and we think, or people that may have it at home, they're in and out of their house 8 hours,
Mm-hmm.
10 hours a day, right? I've been home self-employed since 2010. I've
Okay.
been
So,
the only
yeah.
one in the house full time for 13 years.
And that's
So
where the mold came
in
from.
the
And
same
so tell
house.
people about your home, and let's
Yeah,
go into that. Yeah.
yeah. So that leads us to, how did it happen? Me being home full time, reinventing myself from working in the workplace to transitioning out of this phase in my life. Um, it was difficult in itself, but I didn't know about all the other things. I thought it was lack of calcium.
Mm.
Initially, I was calcium deficient. So we thought about all these other things for me not getting the sun that I used to get and being home. I didn't even know about that. But my neurologist told me maybe that was contributing to my neurological issues. So
Mm.
I'm learning different things as I'm going, and I'm on the vitamin regimen. And so I'm home, I'm full time exposed to it, but my daughter will be here sometimes at the time when she lived here, and she had asthmatic issues. She had breathing issues, nose running, headaches, and she's never experienced any of that. So ultimately, everybody has been here at some point, but not more than me. So what I'm saying to say is, how do one know that they're going to become mold toxic or just, have the symptoms? I'm not a doctor.
Right.
However, I was home much longer than anyone consistently for years. So when it doesn't have anything anywhere to go and come out of your body or anything like the activated charcoal to flush it out,
Right.
maybe I was more prone to it. So
Yeah.
I noticed when I moved here that there were patchworks on the wall, like patch up jobs, and something uh, leaked from the tub to the second level to the third level. And I noticed it wasn't the first time. I noticed a lot of different little things once the stuff started working and we got moved in and started running the water and all this stuff. But I never could ever see mold visibly in my house. Never. You couldn't smell it. Nothing. So it was everything opposite of what I had always considered were signs. I thought I would smell something. I would see some at the baseboard. When you see mold on food or in the corner of a building or something, you see it on the outside. I didn't see it. And that's one, because someone worked very hard to cover it up.
Oof. Yeah.
Two, because it's in the wall, in the fixtures of the wall. And so that's what happened in my house. After I found out I had mold toxicity, I had contacted my landlord and I told him what was going on. And immediately, he never disputed it. He knew immediately what it was. So we tried his thing was the cost of getting people out here to evaluate, a remediator, and all this other stuff, like all these restorative services. His focus was the cost, which is why he never got it done in the first place. Now I know him, and I consider him a nice guy. Period. I think this is situational. I don't want to have too many more situations with him at the expense of my health, because this is not the first thing that has happened since I've lived here. But because it's neglect. And and your standard of living. And if their standard of living is below yours, don't become reduced to fit in their standard. Keep your standards and have them measure up to what you need. Because the things that he had to change was only changed as a result of a doctor's note. The carpet, I wanted to pay I never moved any of my furniture, and I wanted to pay to get everything torn up to get hardwood floors. I didn't want carpet. Would have probably helped greatly in this situation. Knowing now what I know, all of the fibers, I became, I broke out really bad. So I had to get a letter from an allergist. I was getting sticks every week for a year. And I was getting better because I was coming home to the allergen. But they didn't pick up the mold like you did. They didn't pick up that made it. I was getting stuck every week. And it was a lot. It was a lot to feel. I was going home and feeling worse sometimes.
Yeah.
So that was getting the whole house changed carpet wise, new carpet. That was a result of an allergist's letter. So now we fast forward and talk about the mold. Now we have this huge thing he's not disputing, but he know he has to get on it because it's probably going to be a ramification coming behind it. And all of a sudden he's getting these people out. All of these people are intrusive. They're coming in and out. They know what's going on. And I'm just sitting here in this, and hearing how bad it is. I don't want to go beforehand, the questions and us talking about each topic, but yeah, we found black mold in the house.
Yeah.
Black mold.
Wow. Yeah, so for you guys listening, mold is just, a lot of people don't realize how detrimental it can be on your health. Ava's, I don't want to say lucky, but you're a little bit more fortunate than two other friends that I have that had mold toxicity, and those two almost died from it, and they had to keep moving. Each one of them, like all I could see on Facebook every time I turned around was, I gotta find another apartment. There's mold under the stairs. There's mold here. There's mold. I gotta move. Each one of them had to move at least 9 or 10 times. Both of them are doing much better now, by the grace of God. They had, I don't know exactly how Darlene got well. She was a health coach to begin with, so I'm sure she knew her stuff. And then Anna's brother, he sold USANA, which is a supplement. And full disclosure here, this is not medical advice. Nothing's meant to treat, heal, cure, or any illness. These are just experiences and for educational purposes. But Anna started taking USANA and then also some herbs on top of that. So her brother was kind of like a health coach as well with the USANA. That helped her tremendously. She was on her deathbed. Both of them were. They were ready to die.
What were their symptoms on their deathbed to get them to that extreme?
What got them to that extreme to get well?
No, like what happened to get them on their deathbed? Like what did something happen like neurologically or?
Yeah, they were just like, well, I know Darlene was really sick. I talked to her once or twice, and Anna was really bad. Really, she used to hang out in like a clinic in Massachusetts, and that's where there was like no mold whatsoever. So she'd just hang out there all day, just just so she could breathe, so she could live. You know, it was bad. It was bad. They were hospitalized. Yeah, many times, and Anna was hospitalized because it would do something to your mental health. So they thought she was crazy. So they wanted to commit her to like a psych ward and everything. It's like, I'm not crazy. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. She tried. I tried to give her rides to that clinic, and little did I know, my car. I did cooking classes, so I spilled stuff in my car, and I didn't clean it up well. It just dried. Well, little did I know that was actually a little bit of mold in my car, so she couldn't handle that. She's like, got the window down, and I'm like, here I am trying to help her, and I'm making things worse. Yeah, just some little spills. That's how bad she was. She couldn't any tiny bit of a mold spore. If she walked in a room because she was so sensitive and so bad off, she would be a mess. Like her health would just couldn't handle it because she would just automatically sense it. Her skin would break out, whatever it was. Just
So
could not.
those are the onset symptoms that I was seeing. The rashes. I started making my own body butter. I started making my own healing butter and oils from products. I did that for years before this diagnosis. And just because I couldn't understand why I had the outbreaks. But I guess one thing to learn is that your body really does send signals and communicate with you. But I literally thought I touched something because I was just so super sensitive.
Yeah, that's what it does.
I've gone through the expensive process of dermatology, which in this case never worked. The creams never worked. And then that's when I started making my own personal body butters, not just for me, but my children, anybody here. But it was all a reason I didn't know why. I had never done it, but it worked. And it was putting something back little by little in my body, but it still wasn't overpowering whatever it was I was being exposed to. So that's why I was asking, like, how did they almost get to their deathbed? Because I see reports that we share about people really being hospitalized. And I know that I was spared. And I'm not just, I know a lot of people tune in and think they hear everything is super deep. No. Like to have more toxicity in my body to this day and never been hospitalized for it. However, whatever it did offset other things to almost put me on my deathbed. I'm grateful. I'm just super grateful that the process has started. You know what I mean? I'm super grateful that I didn't wait. I'm super thankful to you that we had the conversations and you were so adamant, like, no, I want you to check this out. People, we can't wait. We can't have somebody hold our hand to these types of things because with anything, just like getting mammograms, getting your exams yearly, you gotta stay on top of it in order to get over it and through it. The longer we wait and say, Lyme disease, that sounds like that's something, like most of us are taught the wrong things. Lyme disease never would have been something I would consider because they tell us about that with animals. They tell us about that with all of this stuff. No, like, so as a result of being proactive. We're
Yeah.
here. We're here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there with Lyme disease and mold toxicity. They have both. Yeah. Why, I don't know, but they just do. I don't know if it's because their body is so sensitive from the Lyme, then all of a sudden they're exposed to mold and it's just a double whammy. I don't know the reason, but I do know a few people that they have both mold toxicity and Lyme. So it's really, yeah, not an easy thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No.
So tell us a little bit about, so you started to tell us a little bit about the natural remedies. So, my specialty is the holistic health and diet and all that. So how did you have to change your diet?
With the mold toxicity,
Yeah.
I really it just incorporated it into things that I was already doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking the activated charcoal, I love. And I think it was the clay. What was the name?
Bentonite clay. Yep.
Clay. I have that. I bought both of them together. I also stopped eating a lot of sugar
Mm.
in August immediately, but that was about something else. But of course, it could breed other things too. So it kind of helped me
Right.
structure everything holistically. I
Yep.
still take the vitamin D because I was vitamin D deficient, magnesium, all those vitamins, the CO2 vitamins, the other things like that, the regimen like that, my neurologic, I can't say it, neurologist told me about. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
She told me to make sure I take those things regularly just to maintain the deficiencies that come
Mm.
up in age, just coming up in not being exposed to sun. All those things really weigh heavily with your health. So
Mm-hmm.
um, other than that, that's the only regimens I do. There's nothing too extensive.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing too expensive. Praise the Lord. It's been really easy to keep up with it, and then you monitor and engage it. It might say take 2 a day, right? If I feel like I've become too nauseated or my system is too, whatever because of the other things I'm taking, I'll put it in moderation. Like I might take one activated charcoal every other day because it's
Okay.
a powerful situation. It's very powerful and it's very good. And so drink a lot of water. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Drink a ton of water. I know we hear it, but for me, I had to really alter my life and change it and be intentional about drinking a gallon or more a day.
Mhm.
Like really be intentional because I watched what was coming out. I watched, and all the things that I was putting in was for my body to heal. So I wanted to aid that versus
Yeah.
doing it inconsistently because we can get thrown off and be like, I don't feel like drinking a bottle of water today, or I can do too short. No, for me, just the thought of having mold in my body, I just really needed to flush. And I
Yeah.
fast a lot too, so
Yeah. So you guys out there listening, activated charcoal is a detoxifier. It detoxifies the body. Now, I will caution you with any supplement, even make sure you check with your doctor. But also, it binds everything. So if you are on any medications or anything, you may not absorb your medication, so you have to be very careful with that. If you are on a medication and you're like, oh, I want to take activated charcoal, be careful with that. It binds everything and then it detoxifies the body, so it can constipate you for one, and then for two, like if you are on medications, you want to be very careful because you won't be absorbing the medication that you might need. So again, you might need to check with your doctor if you're going to do activated charcoal. But it's a powerful, powerful supplement and can be very helpful. As well as bentonite clay, which you talked about, is also a detoxifier. You want to have like a food grade if you're going to ingest it. But that's spelled Bentonite, I believe, bentonite clay. But there are some places that might sell it that might not be a food grade, so be careful with that. It tastes like crap. I've taken like an 8-ounce glass of water with it, and it was like, ugh. But it pulls out the toxins in your body. It's a clay, so just be careful with some of these supplements. If you're on any medications, or if you have an illness, you might need to check with your doctor because you never know what it will do to your body, how your body's going to react if your body's in a certain state. So just wanted to add that, but I'm glad that it's helped you tremendously because it can be very helpful.
Yeah. And also to go along with the doctors, please, a lot of people pick up on the trends and the fads of what's weight loss, what's dietary supplements, what's this, what's that. And as a part of my regimen for the vitamins, just dealing with chronic migraines over 10 years with vitamins, you can take vitamins as well.
Yes, you can.
Overuse something that was intended to be good. So please, I consulted every specialist I have. I have a neurologist, I have a rheumatologist, and I have my primary. Everybody's on deck. Everybody's in sync and can see my charts. And I take the stuff. If I don't know the exact name, I take I screenshot it. I take a picture, whatever I need to do to keep them informed because of what is going on. So definitely don't just think, I'm going to get me some vitamin D. I'm going to go get me some magnesium or some iron. I'm taking that too. I could think one thing is constipating you and it's something else, so you want to take everything in moderation as needed. And the only way I found out what was needed is when my doctors said, this is the deficiency. And so with these deficiencies, take this, we're going to test again, and then we're going to test again. So people, it requires multiple testing to see if your levels have leveled out. And at that point, you don't need to take something because it could cause adverse effects. So we really just want to hone in and just make sure we're partnered with our primary physicians and specialists and not take our own health in our own hands. Because if we could do that, we wouldn't need doctors. We would know everything and nothing would be wrong. So you want to consult.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's flip the switch a little bit. So, your first thought is like, okay, there's mold in my house. I got to move. Like I told you, Darlene and Anna both, they were constantly moving at least like 9 or 10 times. You couldn't move. So what was your next step? So let's talk about that.
So they found mold in the downstairs bathroom. We have 3 levels, 3 bathrooms. It was in the suite in the very basement where my oldest son stayed. All of my 4 children have been here at some point in time. So it was black mold found in the walls. The ducts, they had to tear the bathroom out, the room out and everything. The walls down, the ceiling, parts of the ceiling, of course, where it leaked and it was patched up. It was not air dried, sucked out and everything. That cost too much for him. So he patched it with paint wherever the black mold spots were. So I'd never seen it. The stuff in the walls, in the bathroom, in the drywall, the layers, that all had to come out. Another huge thing, when you talked about working in prisons, I did too. But imagine those ducts in your house. My ducts had never been cleaned. This house is 30 years old. So when we found out after the remediation services came, after the state came, after the restoration people came to give quotes about everything everybody was going to do, finally got something scheduled a couple of months later. It wasn't immediate, right? So I'm still here taking my stuff and, feeling ill. And when the day came for them to come, the duct people came first. So guys, you want to get that done first. Now, my landlord wanted to do it reverse, tear the mold out, then get the ducts done. But to me, it just didn't make sense because now you're going to spray everything over. It just didn't make sense. So I did go back. I asserted myself. We went back and forth. The second thing was, because it goes back again to his quality of living, he said I could stay in the house while they did all this work. My family and I and our 3 canine babies could stay right here in this house that's already infected us. And this work is going on, right? So I chose to get 4 nights at a hotel, almost a week for me and my family, right? Again, it goes back. He said, well, you didn't have to do that. So he was saying that so he wouldn't have to cover the cost. But
right.
Please, people, don't stay somewhere expecting someone to cover a cost that the accommodations are poor. You have to assert yourself and know what your cost, what your quality of living is. It just wouldn't have made sense. 3-level home, ducts, it's 27 ducts. I had to count the ducts to count the costs. Yes, 27 ducts. Wow. So I had to count them so they can tell him what the quote would be. And I feel like I went through all of this for a reason for somebody else. I spoke to you almost daily about it. But when I sent my son here to take videos and his phone went out. But my son has asthma. He took the best videos he could, but the video was so nasty and cloudy with just the duck people here, not the tear down the wall people. This is the ducks. The stuff that came out of the ducks, he had to go out back on the deck and just to breathe because it was so much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So being in prisons and working for a place, but you can go home to a clean place is different than living in a place that's never, since this home was first built, it's only been 2 people live here. And you never, or I'm the third, and you never got your ducks clean, whether anyone lived here or not. And when I found out, I think I can't remember exactly, but I'm almost sure they said you're supposed to get your ducks done frequently. And I don't want to put a false number, but I'll come back in the comments wherever this is posted and let you know, because I found out and I was so disgusted. I want to say 3 to 6 months or 6 months to a year. I was so disgusted knowing that I've lived here for 12 years. So that was number one.
Yeah.
When we moved back in, I'm still here. They repaired the wall, they repaired the bed, everything new downstairs. That's only in part. That's only in part. That was the most severe because the visual was there. I could pin them to the wall and be like, we see the flood happened here. It had to be so strategic. So if another place started flooding or it had patchwork, then maybe I would have gotten that one replaced. But because it was so much patchwork that showed up right in those places, that's the only reason he repaired that part first. So I don't know how it could be in one part of the wall and not the others. But yeah, I'm still here. I was not able to move yet because of I had to make a decision if I was going to pursue legal action. You can't sue where you live. And it's not that easy to pick up and go all the time either. You know, it's not that easy. You know, you can go and it's just the amount of stress, the amount of doctor's visits revved up, and it's just, what are you going to do? You know, what's the best choice overall? And it doesn't have to be right now, but I'm still looking into things that's going to work on my behalf because of what was done and what I'm still battling as a result of the mold toxicity. So I'm not letting it go, but I had to reprioritize and make myself and my health first, and then have the other things work on my behalf in the background for a minute. Yeah.
Wow. Now, did your husband have any health issues?
He hasn't gotten tested. Nobody has. Now, my daughter moved last year, and he didn't get tested yet. She is telling her primary, and they're going to test her in the near future when she has her primary physician visit. She hasn't had any headaches. She hasn't had any migraines since she left a year ago.
Oh, wow. So she got better after she moved.
She got better every time she left. She travels the world, so every time she's away from the house, she travels. Even when she visits, she can't stay long. And we just thought it was a living room thing or the dog thing. We didn't think it was that, you know, and that room is where she used to live. And so it's like a suite. And she can't breathe when she comes here. So she talks to me from the front door. It's sad. It's just sad. You know, so it's a mental anguish that goes with this type of thing, and mental inconvenience and physical inconvenience to relocate, to think about what that looks like for you at that moment. And for me alone, outside of my husband and my children and grandchildren who stay here every other weekend, you know, like the burden is, and the battle was not forgetting about me. You know, I'm the one dealing with the mold toxicity with a high level. I'm gonna say they may have it in their body, but I have a high level of it in my body.
Right.
And what does that look like, and how long does that take? Because it's not an overnight thing. I've gotten tested twice since then, and it's still there. There's no medicine cocktail for that. I haven't gotten it. I didn't know that. I'm thinking, yay, when I get the test back, it's rolling now, you know. So I don't know how it goes. You know, that's how I know it's in segments. Like, I can't wait to come back and say, okay, they figured this out. This is what I can do. But I believe what you suggested that I get
Hmm.
was something they would have suggested. And probably, I think my primary said that was probably the best decision I made to
Wow.
not, yeah, yeah. So right now, that's where I'm at. I'm still in the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find your health improving somewhat?
I definitely feel like my health has improved because it allowed me to de-stress,
Yeah.
to know what I'm dealing with. I feel like my body is being restored, whether you feel it fast or slow. I feel like everything I'm putting in is intentional and it's nutrients, and detoxifying is the best thing to do, regardless of what's going on or what's not going on. We all need that intermittent fast and detox. So I feel rested. I feel happy. Some days I look better than others,
Hmm.
as far as weak and fatigued looking, but overall I feel like I'm managing it well, even knowing what I'm facing, knowing what I'm battling with. I feel like if I do this, then maybe go take some sea moss, or maybe drink more water, or maybe drink some tea, or write it down, see how many days that's happening, and see where I was at. Like, I'm pinpointing everything now. Like, did
So
I spend too much time?
yeah, so tell us, like, from this time last year, how you felt physically to this time this year. How much different do you feel?
Oh God, way more energized. Shoot,
Yeah,
way more energized.
yeah.
Remember, I was crawling like a snail. Oh my God,
And
I
still doing business, which was amazing.
multiple
Yeah.
projects. Because I'm just so driven and determined, and so something like that comes and sideswipes a person like that.
Hmm.
You know, it's a foreign thing. You know, I started at the high stress levels before that, but to get sideswiped and become immobile, to have neurologically things breaking down where I can't speak, where I can't articulate, where my brain fog is all the time. Oh my gosh, shortness of breath. I have 3 levels. I'm
Wow.
running up and down the steps all day long. And it's cool because I'm maybe not going outside and taking walks and exercise. So going up and down the steps is fine, but out of breath on the second step at one point
Mm,
last year. Now
wow.
I'm moving again and I'm happy. In the few days that I'm not, I take a inventory. Like, Avis, did you take your vitamins? Like,
Mm,
when it happens now, I know I might have done something because
right.
my body was like, okay, you're restoring me. I got this momentum. I got my breath back. And certain days now, I just really sit down and be still, you know? Maybe I'm just pushing it too much or something, but I definitely came. I don't think on the first video we did and show we did, I don't think, oh God, I don't even want to think about it. That was tumultuous, to say
Yeah.
the least. It was shocking. Oh God, it was shocking. And I was like bewildered at one point. And I wasn't afraid when you told me. I knew it was God sent. But I was just like, I felt a release coming and I'm running to it with every piece of strength that I had because I was so weak. Yeah, God, that spirit just pushed me into something else. Was like, if I can get through all of that without knowing, but knowing who, now
Mm,
God sends the message through the messenger, I'm running full throttle. And I'd rather be tired doing that than
mm.
be tired of not know, not
Right.
knowing, self-diagnosing, misdiagnosis, going to the
Yeah.
doctor. I'd rather listen. I'll be tired getting well than staying fatigued and unwell. Like, that's
And
just how
I'm
it
just
is.
thinking, I'm like, my gosh, if we didn't know that that was mold toxicity, I don't care what you'd be doing right now, you'd still be sick because they didn't fix the house.
I think I
Didn't
think I,
get.
I think it would have been worse. I think
Mm,
when we met, I think you knew that and
mhm.
didn't discern that. I think that I was at that point when I met you afraid. You know, my language with my loved ones changed.
Mm,
My pre-planning changed. Do you understand what I mean? So I deliberately put things in place because it was so far out of this world that I got tired, not even complaining. I'm not a complainer, but I got tired saying I was sick and I felt the consumption, like choking the joy, life, and peace out of me. Like, and I couldn't put my doctor, I get the injections for the migraines, right? And she kept saying, Avis is something else. Something
Wow.
is going on for years. We
Wow.
just never had that kind of conversation with a neurological visit. We didn't have those talks are boom, boom, boom. You're getting 66 injections for migraines. You're out the door. It takes less than 10 minutes.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't want to tell.
Wow.
Tuesday to get them, so I'm not even happy about that. But yeah, so like it was no conversation other than the TIAs, and that's what she was saying. Like with the mini stroke, sitting down, I was writing my book in April 2019, the first one, and then I closed my laptop, and everything happened after that, like immediately.
Mm.
The symptoms, the stroke symptoms hit. Then it happened again in 2021. So when she was speaking to me about that, she kept saying something is not right. I'm monitoring you every 3 months. Something is not right. It's something else. And it bothered her. But we didn't have this kind of conversation. I just told her what I was doing. And you know, with that, like go to sleep. You know, you need to sleep more. You need to eat better. You know, it's just a generic.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have anything in my blood work. I was clean. They had done everything they could do. My rheumatologist blood results were uploaded. There was nothing that they could think of that correlated with their service. But that's a difference when you're a servant and you're holistic and you're led by God to deliver what type of things that you deliver on your show. It's a difference when they're doing a job versus serving, because you're listening from the spiritual ear, not the natural.
Right.
And you couldn't even go through the whole show before you was like, hey, hold on. Nope. She was like,
I know what this is. Yeah, I knew.
Check for Lyme and mold real quick.
Yep.
It's a difference.
I knew, but I mean, of course, you had to get the validation and the confirmation from the natural, real tests, real time, you know, all that. But we knew what was going on. Unbelievable.
I was bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm so thankful that you're better.
Yes.
Not 100%, but you're better.
Yes.
You're taking care of the house. I will say, we've said it before. I truly believe you will move. You're probably just getting that house prepared for the next person, so they won't have to be sick or deal with that.
Amen.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna fight this fight too. I'm gonna fight it the right way.
Yeah.
God has to. I petition God. We petition God together in prayer fast. But I'm asking for a different type of provision for, not like you said, not just myself, but for a lot of people that's going through this, and with the floods and the mold and the landlord lack of care and neglect that they, whatever, they just don't tend to things the way they should. And this could have had a very detrimental effect.
You could be as sick as Anna and Darlene were, They were really, I'm telling you, really sick. I'll have to get you in touch with them, so maybe you guys could just converse. You never know. I mean, it might be just very healing for all of you to converse all your symptoms and what you went through and go through, and who knows, you might be able to help each other in one way or another. I don't know what they're going through now. I mean, there might be something still, but yeah, I'll have to get you in touch with them, because I think maybe both the three of you could have a good conversation. But yeah, it's just, I'm so thankful that God used me to help you and to help others. Like we said, we're going to share this broadcast, your last broadcast, the first one. People need to hear this. Like you say, that there's floods all over the place right now, and you hit the nail right on the head. There's a lot of landlords out there right now, and if their places are flooded, are you kidding me? They're just going to, like you say, patchwork, whatever's cheapest.
I'm talking about cheap.
We have to be very aware that, all of a sudden you've got a breathing problem or a joint pain problem or something. There could be mold,
Absolutely.
If you get away from it for a little while, stay somewhere. If you are having like a breathing problem, joint pain, headaches, whatever, go away somewhere else and see if it clears up slightly. That's when you know it's something in your home.
And I did for years. I told you I go to Florida multiple times a year, and I don't take any medicine. and I couldn't understand why I'm running miles to the beach, spending a whole day outside,
Yeah.
recharge. Like this was not the same person when I got back to Delaware. It
Yeah.
just was. And
Yeah.
so I know a lot of
Get
people, I
away
didn't
from
know where to go after that. I didn't know what to do after this multi-toxicity situation. And I sought a lawyer's consult. I Googled it. You sent me some YouTube links as well. And I found a couple of lawyers that were talking about they can connect you to somebody in the state. And of course, I did have or do have grounds for a lawsuit. Of course, again, you can't sue where you live. So that's
Okay.
been held up with that. They waited for my second set of results to come in, which came in, and I'm still mold toxic. From there, I've just focused on not feeling down about what I can't do
Mm.
and at the moment.
Right.
And
Right.
everything that I can, yeah, I'll get back to that. And then focus on everything that I can do in spite of. And so I've revved up everything from fasting and faith to praying to seeking and asking. And I mean, I'm just going to God with it. I'm leaning in. I'm leaning all the way in with everything that's mine, all the provision, everything, pulling down the prayers, the blessings that God has for me. I need it. And then I need it for others. That's the focus. Other people going through this and suffering. So the lawyers have been calling, and I just had to stand still for a second.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, so on that note, if anybody out there needs any help, some not really, I don't want to say legal advice, but just a little help in the right direction. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Because, we can't say we can give legal advice or financial advice or medical advice, but any kind of help in the right direction, Avis can point you in the right direction with the best people, because now she's able to help with that, as well as health, health direction, helping people get the right help in that direction as well too.
I absolutely partnered with a great situation, and I partnered with a company that helps with legal service. The stuff that I would need, I would only offer to other people that I can put my name on. So they definitely can reach out to me via email at evolution@avascherie.me.
Okay.
It's just to offer services and connectivity, because I had so many questions legally because I knew my rights were violated. And
Yeah.
it's just not for just mold, it's for life issues.
Right.
You don't have an attorney on standby that you can ask and consult. So I partnered with a group that can help us with that. And so reach out to me and I will direct you to the right people that I actually needed and used. And it's been such a great resource, such as your show, such as your mission, and everything that God is using you for. It's the same way. It's just put in our pot for our one-stop shop. That's all.
I love it. That's a t-shirt.
It's just another resource.
T-shirt.
Yep.
I love it. Yeah.
Yep.
So Avis, tell everybody, so you just tell them how they can reach you. Tell them where to follow you. You're on Instagram. You've got a YouTube channel, a very motivational YouTube channel. So tell everybody how to follow you, not just for mold toxicity, but so many other great things that you're doing.
Avis Cherie TV on YouTube. I do motivational vlogs and inspirational things. I do coaching and things God gives me to release. I release it on Avis Cherie TV. I'm on Instagram. You get a glimpse of what I put on my YouTube channel there. And you can always go to www.avascherie.me. That is my website with all my books and my accountability card game that God just gave me to process the mental stuff that we go through and hold ourselves accountable to get well. It's all holistic.
Oh yeah, you just made those beautiful, beautiful cards. Do you have any like by your side right now? No, it's okay.
No, but you definitely. I see them over there.
Well, she put this amazing card deck, which is just awesome for people with mental health. I mean, it doesn't have to be mental health, but it's a good
accountability
tool.
It's like self-accountability. Like, what did you do in the last 7 days? And you can play with anybody. Just make sure they're confidants. Just make sure they understand. confidentiality and make sure they're there to help you heal and get through the things and not just talk about them. But it's so much fun. And you can see my accountability card deck everywhere on my platforms. I've also showed myself playing with one of my customers to just give you
cool.
the
Yeah.
so it's the wounds to wins I have and have not card game. So it's pretty cool. God just blessed my spirit with it in January and I rolled it out in February. So
Yeah, and I have to say it's pretty unique. Like I've never seen anything like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
they're
So it's
pretty
great.
and they're real cards. They're really cool. They're real cards.
Mental health tools. So if you're a practitioner out there, even an apostle, a pastor, great tool to work with clients with, you know. That's what I would say. I mean, Avis, you can say more on that, but that's what I would say.
I use my DSM-4 clinician book. I am a mental health background. I forgot to say that earlier, but I've been in the mental health field for over 23 years. So what I did, I went back to that, used my DSM-4 model. I also first just wrote down everything God gave me out of my sleep one night. And I was just like, card game. Okay, how are we going to construct this? And so I wanted to reinforce it with the facts of mental health. And so I put it in language that everybody can say, everybody can feel and know, and not be embarrassed. It's not a tool for embarrassment. It's a tool for growth and self-accountability to break chains and cycles of everything. That if you're ready, you're ready. And you can play by yourself. You don't need a group of people.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, they're great. Look them up on our website or on Instagram. Once you see them, you're gonna be like, these are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Because I saw them and I was like, oh wow, those are for any like I said, it doesn't even have to be a mental health practitioner. You could even be like a life coach and use that. You know, any kind of counselor or coach. That's what I mean, like you could use them for yourself, absolutely. They're really helpful. Yeah.
The marriage counselor,
yeah,
and they asked for quite a few, and also the life coaching side, and actually some school counselors use them as well for their group counseling. Yep. So
I just wanted to put that out there. I'm sorry we can't show them to you, but you guys can look them up on her website or on anywhere you follow her, Instagram. They're there. You'll see them and they're amazing. So we went a little bit over. It's about 2 minutes over, but this has been amazing. Avis, I'm so glad you came back to give us an update on everything, you know, like the legal issues, your health. But I'm believing one of these days you are going to move out and your health is going to be like 98% better because you'll be in a better environment eventually. But right now it's just meant for you to get as better as you can, you know, that whatever you can do until God just says, okay, little birdie, it's time for you to fly.
And I'm going to fly.
And next you can move in and not have to be sick and deal with the nonsense and craziness of having that issue, you know, because you can't patch it up anymore.
Exposure.
Yeah. And I believe doing this show is going to wake up some people, you know. I don't know how many, but it's at least just make people aware. You know, like I said, there's a lot of areas that are getting flooded. People they're just not aware. They don't know that, you know, just cleaning up, getting the water out isn't enough. You've got to make sure you don't have molds. If it's getting behind the walls, the paneling, all that stuff. You got to make sure it's gone, and you've got to get, you know, pay now or pay later, and you don't want to pay later.
You don't. Yeah, you got to budget it in some type of way, and I pray that the resources are there for every person. I pray that there's a fund that they can find for it, and I can't wait to come back because I hope to have more and more resources about this.
Yes.
And we're going to continue. We'll be in each other's lives for a while, so
absolutely.
We'll it's
got to be part 4, 5, 6 units.
There's no cap to health. There's no
end. Yes.
We're going to find out that we got to be on the other side, and we're going to all touch and agree. I'm praying for every person that's seeing this, that they make it through to the other side. If nothing else, ask God to give you the strength to encourage yourself to get up and go forth and be proactive in your health. Please.
Yes.
We don't want to have a conversation of losing too many people from lack of knowledge because we don't have an excuse now. Today was a drop in the bucket, but you can go back 2 more shows and see us talking about this this very thing. So yeah,
Yep.
have hope.
Yep, definitely. And with that, thank you, Avis, for being on again. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you to the replay viewers. Once again, I'm looking for sponsors for the show. I'm looking for people to partner with. If you need customized recipes, I can help you with that. If you're a doctor, nurse, I don't know, practitioner, anybody who has clients or patients that, you just keep hearing them say, I don't know what to eat. I can help you with that. And I like to make recipes simple, not a lot of ingredients in there. So please reach out to me. You can get me on Facebook, Instagram Messenger. Text me. My phone number is on the screen. It's 508-330-9665 if you're just listening. You can text me and we'll set up a time to talk. I might not be able to answer you right away, but I will. And yeah, and I'm just looking for other people to be on the show. If you've overcome an illness, going through an illness, or you're a spouse, an apostle, nurse, doctor, whatever it is, we need your stories. And that, like I said, with Avis, not a lot of people know a lot about mold. Got to get those stories out there. People need your stories and how you helped yourself. So again, we went a little bit over, but thank everybody for watching. Avis, this was great. Thank you again. And I am looking forward to just seeing you get better and better every day.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. You know that.
Yes, same here. Same here. All right, you guys, I'll see you next Sunday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.